It appears that there is more and more fire and smoke enveloping the very top of the building, and as fire crews are descending on this area, it does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
I was in the 9th grade, and I remember someone came through the school, like running through the school, and said that one of the first building had been hit by a plane.
And I saw on the TV that there was a lot of commotion about a plane crash, and they weren't really sure what was going on. And then I actually I saw the second plane crash into the World Trade Center.
And then the news about, you know, the Pennsylvania flight came in, and then the crash into the Pentagon. And actually, we have a family friend in the Pentagon, and so I remember just thinking that he had died, and there's no way he would have survived that. And he actually did get out, thank God. He was one of the ones who was pulling people out of the wreckage. But the entire day we were just waiting to hear if he had died.
And just the shock and when it happened, couldn't put it even into words, just being speechless. And then also having to get back and try and get on with your day, at least a portion of it as best you could, was nearly impossible.
On the morning of September 11th, I was a senior in high school, and I was having surgery. So I went into surgery before anything happened, and when I woke up, I told my parents I had a terrible dream that the World Trade Centers were on fire. And it turned out that they really were, and that the terrible events had actually happened. And then I'd overheard the nurses and the doctors talking and being afraid and being scared, and that had all filtered into what was going on in my mind while I was having this surgery.
When I got up to the cafeteria and I saw the television, I saw people surrounding it in this cafeteria, not moving, not speaking, not eating, but standing in absolute shock. The real effect of what had happened started to hit me. I chose not to go to class that day. Most classes were actually canceled. I sat in my room, glued to the television, calling family and friends, trying to make sure that we knew where everybody was.
No one really understood, and then it was actually one of our Israeli teachers who said this is a terrorist attack. And we, in this country, did not even know what that meant. And now we know.
We weren't sure if there were more planes that were missing, or how widespread the destruction really was. And of course, we were glued to the TV and the news all day and all night.
I remember there being quite a bit of concern. Being around large cities and everything too was something that I had never experienced in my life.
Our school district is right next to Metro Detroit Airport, where planes generally land right over top of us about every 30 seconds. So the superintendent and I went out to check buildings, make sure they were on lockdown, and the eerie feeling that you felt just not hearing any plane noise that was generally heard every 30 seconds gave you that little sense of something was just not right.
And I remember at night after, we just had to turn everything off because it was too much and everyone was scared, standing outside in the middle of the street with the neighbors, and there were no planes. And it was silent, and the silence was scary.
The other memory I have took place about a week after. I was coaching softball at the time, and it was eerily quiet. And then at 5 o'clock exactly, planes started taking off, and everyone on the field just stopping and looking up and wondering what was going on. That moment, hoping and praying that we could overcome what had happened, just kind of hit you all at once.
This kind of thing didn't happen in America. This is the biggest attack since Pearl Harbor, and so this was a brand new thing, and we had to kind of change the way we felt like the United States felt or fit into the world.
I felt like my whole world had changed, and I remember that day so clearly because it was such a significant moment in my individual life and such a huge moment for the country as a whole.
After 9/11, I realized the true importance of understanding where we've been as a country, where we're going, how our core values shape us, and how patriotism and all these things that our founding fathers planted within us, how it really matters. 9/11 defined my career.
The whole world has changed since then, and it's still changing. That's what I remember.